So if you've made it this far in this reloading series, then you should by now hopefully have a set of fully loaded up bullets to go out and test. So what we thought we'd do in this episode is discuss how we personally go about testing our loaded ammunition and seeing whether it is fit for purpose. So I personally have 5 criteria that bullets have to hit in order for me to continue using them. The first one is the practicality of them. So how easily can I get hold of all of the different components? How expensive are they? But also once they're sort of assembled, how easy are they to use? And by that I mean I can make an incredibly accurate bullet if I adjust the seating depth quite far out, so the bullet's seated quite far out of the case mouth. But the disadvantage of that is they don't then fit in my magazine, and sometimes can be slightly more difficult to chamber in terms of cycling the bolt. So for me, if it doesn't pass all of those sort of tests, then that's it. It doesn't make it any further. The next step for me is the 100-meter accuracy. So very easy to measure. Go and put a target out at 100 meters and see how well it groups. And I'm not necessarily looking for something that sort of clover leaves. For me, anything less than half MOA at 100 meters or 100 yards, absolutely fine. The next step, if it makes it that far, is to test it out to further distances. For me, don't normally shoot beyond sort of 250, 300 meters. So providing it groups well at those kind of distances, again, it'll pass that test. The reason I do that is I've quite often found that I can get a group that works really, really well at 100 meters, but as soon as it gets stretched out any further, say 200 or 300, it completely falls to pieces. Or you might find that it's much more susceptible to wind drift if you're using a really light bullet, for example, or it's going very slowly. Or as with the 308, for example, you might find that it drops far too much and just makes it sort of completely not usable at extended distances. The fourth category, and this comes in that order, so it has to have passed all those other tests before it makes it to this step, is its terminal performance. So how does it work on game? How quickly and efficiently does it kill? Does it give you a good blood trail? And does it work with all the different species of animal? So I shoot 4 of the 5 deer species, so fallow, roe, muntjac, Chinese water deer. The only one I don't shoot is sika. And I appreciate that I won't always get a bullet that works perfectly on every single animal because we're dealing with quite different sizes, weights, bone density, etc. But can I find a bullet that works relatively well on all of them? It might work particularly well on one, but as long as it doesn't work really, really badly on another, then that's absolutely fine. And you'll find, and we've got a video coming up on these in terms of copper bullets, but you'll find that they all deform and they all act in completely different ways when they hit their target. So comparing, say, a solid bullet to, say, a ballistic tip, they're going to deform very differently. So for me, it's how do they work? How far does an animal run after it's hit? And that sort of leads us on to the 5th and final category for me, which is meat damage. So I might get a bullet that works really well at 100 meters. It might be really cheap and easy to buy. It might work really well at 200 meters and 300 meters. It might kill quickly and efficiently. But for me, if it falls down at the 5th one, in terms of it's just too explosive, it does too much bruising, does too much damage to a carcass, then unfortunately I'll look for something different. And that's sort of where my own personal journey is at the moment. I was using Barnes TTSX bullets up until probably sort of this time last year, and then decided to move on to something else because I could get them relatively easily. They worked really well, but they were just giving me a lot of bruising on carcasses, and so I've tried a few different options. And again, we've got further videos coming up on that in the future. So there you are. That for us is how we test the efficacy of the bullets we've made. I hope to see you on the next video where we'll be concluding our reloading series. And as always, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe.